Hey everyone, and welcome to our release kickoff for milestone 16.4. My name is David DeSanto, and I lead the product team here. I will be your host for today's live stream. I'm joined today by some of our great team members in the product division. They are, in order they'll be presenting, Irvi Chetta, Group Product Manager, will provide updates for the dev section. Sarah Waldner, Group Product Manager, will provide updates for the sec section. Jocelyn Ellis, Senior Product Manager, will provide updates for the CI and CD sections. And Josh Lambert, I almost said Justin Lambert, Josh Lambert, not his brother, the actual Josh Lambert, Director of Product Management, will be providing updates for the enablement section. We're focused on delivering value iteratively with a focus on our FY24 product investment themes. Those themes are build a world-class DevSecOps experience, that focuses on first-class usability, additional collaboration capabilities, and AI-assisted workflows, which I think we now call AI-powered workflows. Taylor can talk about that when it's his turn. Provide advanced security and compliance, adding depth to Ultimate and bringing software supply chain security to the forefront of how software is delivered. Bring observability, analytics, and feedback into DevSecOps, empowering organizations to close the SDLC loop with data. And finally, GitLab for data science workloads enables data scientists and data engineers, brings them into the DevSecOps platform, giving them all the benefits their counterparts experience, including collaboration, reproducibility, and streamlined deployment into production. And before I hand it over to Irvi, I just want to go over our short public service announcement. I think I've read this enough in the last 2 years. I can probably do it without reading it, but I'm going to read it so I don't screw it up. On this live stream, we will be discussing our product roadmap, which includes upcoming features and functionality. It is important to note that the information provided today is for informational purposes only. Please do not rely on it for planning or purchasing decisions. We plan very ambitiously here at GitLab, and all details on this live stream are subject to change. The timing of products, features, and functionality remain at the sole discretion of GitLab. Okay, so now that we've gotten all of the details out of the way, and I did realize I don't think I mentioned Taylor's presenting. He's between Jocelyn and Josh, just so you know, Taylor. I'm going to hand it over to Irvi to make this a more productive call than what I made it in the first 2 minutes.
Thank you, David. I'm going to share my screen. Hi, everyone. I'm Urvi, and I'm going to go over the highlights for the dev section today. So I'll start with the first theme, which is world-class DevSecOps experience. One of the features that we are really excited about is the minimal forking. So today, if you want to fork a project, you have an option to fork all branches. But with this release, we are going to enable a feature that allows you to only fork the default branch. This allows for quickly and efficiently forking only the data that you may want to bring over and not everything all at once. The second feature that I'm excited about is the support for multiple versions on GitLab pages. So today, there is only one version that you can have for a given project on the GitLab pages site. This makes it really hard for the customers to try new ideas and bring them to life. So with this feature, we will allow you to maintain multiple versions and try it out on the sandbox before you actually put them onto production. This is it for the world-class DevSecOps experience. And now moving on to the advanced security and compliance. I have 2 features that I want to highlight here. First one is domain verification for the enterprise users. If you are an enterprise customer who has their domain verified on GitLab.com, then it is easy for you to automatically claim your enterprise users with this feature. But as long as all your users have their email tied to your domain. So this is something that we are releasing in this upcoming release. And it allows group owners to kind of maintain more control over their users, as well as it also prevents the users from creating their independent projects and groups outside of the corporate project. And the last feature that I want to go over is the new UI that we are enabling for custom roles. Today, this is an API-only feature, so group admins can create new roles using API. But with this feature, we are going to have a UI. You can create a role, give it a title, and then assign it to the users at a later point. Yeah, this is it for dev section. Over to Sarah.
Thank you, Ravi. All right. Gonna get my screen shared. I'll be covering the section milestone 16.4 kickoff highlights. So all of our highlights that I'll be going over today for this milestone fit under the advanced security and compliance theme. Starting with our threat insights group, which is part of the governance stage. So that group is going to be finalizing the last permission approved merge requests, which is part of the granular security permissions MVC. These permissions will allow ultimate customers to separate out the duties between the engineering security teams in a way that adheres to the principle of least privilege. Today, users don't have the ability to separate out the duties between the engineering security teams in a way that adheres to this. Security teams need to be able to approve merge requests, but don't necessarily need to make changes directly to a code base. Also from the Threat Insights group, they'll be working on vulnerability report grouping. So the first iteration of this will include grouping by status and severity on the vulnerability report. This will help security analysts optimize their triage tasks by utilizing bulk actions. In addition, users will be able to see how many vulnerabilities match their group. Other possible organizations may be how many of the OWASP top 10 vulnerabilities are there, as another example, which is what our initial design here is showing, where we've grouped by the OWASP top 10. I'm personally very excited for this feature. Moving on from our composition analysis group. And this team will be wrapping up work to deliver on continuous vulnerability scanning for dependency scanning, specifically for when there are updates to the advisory database. When changes are made, this triggers scanning and any new dependency-related vulnerability information will appear in the vulnerability report. We expect this to be on by default for all Ultimate customers in 16.4. Coming from our compliance group within the govern stage, we'll be continuing to work on allowing compliance enforcement of security policies, which centers around removing possible circumventions to security policy enforcement, as well as introducing support for a critical compliance requirement, enforcing two-person approvals on all merge requests. Security policies create guardrails for how businesses operate, and these compliance requirements are typically associated with some business risk. However, security is more than encouraging the right behavior. We must also ensure compliance of the rules that we've defined. From our dynamic analysis group within the secure stage, this group will be working on adding active checks for our browser-based DAST offering. This will enable us to migrate away from legacy ZAP technology and more effectively identify vulnerabilities in modern applications. I'm actually going to go back to the compliance group, given the sequence I have these features open on my browser. The compliance group will also be working on the MVC for the compliance adherence report. Got a design down here to give us a sneak preview of what that's going to look like. This will allow users to get insight into whether they are compliant with some of the best practices for separation of duties for software development, such as multiple approvals for merge requests. While this MVC does not report on a specific regulation, these best practices are included in multiple regulations and standards around the world. The initial release will give them an overview of their projects and link to the compliance violations report to provide specific information about any violations that have taken place. Okay, so from the compliance team as well, continuing our effort to provide easier configuration for streaming of audit events, we will be adding AWS S3 as a selectable destination for streaming audit events. Rather than forcing users to craft their own HTTP headers to ensure AWS S3 will accept the audit events, we will have a form that only requires users to fill out the specifics of their S3 instance, providing a much more seamless and efficient experience than streaming audit events to AWS S3. And finally, from our static analysis group within the secure stage, This group will be working on iteration 1 of the larger effort to show security findings in the MR Changes tab. This will add SES findings to the Changes tab within the merge request in such a way that they can be viewed in line with the diff code. This is part of our continued effort to shift left into the developer's workflow by providing a way for developer to view, understand, and take action on a vulnerability directly within the merge request. And that is it for the section. I'm going to pass it off to Jocelyn to cover highlights for the ops section.
There we go. Thanks, Sarah. So just as a quick introduction, I'm Jocelyn, and I am a product manager in the CI section, and I will be kicking off 16.4 for both CI/CD sections. These sections contain all the experiences of enabling developers to effectively leverage configuration and operations tasks in GitLab after a developer commits their code. The 3 stages within the section are verify, package, and deploy. We have a bunch of, I think, just amazing investments across all these stages planned for 16.4, and I'll be sharing a slice of all these incredible efforts right now. Our core theme for this release is world-class DevOps experience, where we have many of our teams making some really great improvements. For starters, from our pipeline security team. The team will be working on an investigation of the limitations that we have today for masking special characters. This issue will help solidify a top request from users looking to migrate from other CI providers such as Jenkins. Today, GitLab does not support the same types of characters supported by these other providers. Our environments group will be working on supporting personal access tokens for authentication. This issue will help extend authentication using personal access tokens with user access in the Kubernetes agent. This enables agent access from the command line, making it significantly more accessible for platform engineers looking to manage authentication with the agents. Next up in this issue here, the package team will be working on making it even easier to download packages from upstream repos. The Maven dependency proxy API will be improved in the case where a package does not yet exist and needs to be pulled and uploaded into the project's registry. Next up, our runner group will also be delivering enhancements to support our Kubernetes GitLab runner via a beta offering for different Kubernetes pod specs for each class of GPU-enabled compute offered. This improvement is part of a broader iteration plan toward a pod specs keyword, really designed to simplify the workflow for developers during the specification of the compute required. And last in this theme is our pipeline execution group, which is continuing the journey to support better experience for our SCM and CI users by continuing improvements to merge trains. This includes this issue here to add merge immediately option without interrupting the merge train, which will support skipping a merge train without restarting the train. This approach will be a trade-off of keeping the main branch green in favor of an atomic merge process. And then our second theme that our section will be contributing to is advanced security and compliance, where the CD sections will be delivering some improvements to meet compliance requirements. The issue here I'd like to highlight, the environments group will be focusing on is to extend audit events for deployment approvals, which is a compliance requirement for many regulated industries and their companies. The audit events will be captured when deployment approval rules are changed or approval rules on a protected environment change. As I mentioned before, this is by no means a comprehensive take of everything that we are shipping in the ops section. If you have a chance, please take a moment to review the kickoff videos or direction pages if you're interested in learning more. And that wraps it up for the CI/CD sections. I will pass it over to Taylor in the data science section.
Awesome. Thanks, Jocelyn. Hi, everyone. My name is Taylor McCaslin. I'm a group product manager for our data science section. Today, I want to talk through a new stage we've introduced to GitLab called AI Powered, as David alluded to earlier. This is an iteration on our data science section. So the AI Powered stage has 3 groups: AI Framework, AI Model Validation, and Duo Chat. If you're curious, the story behind our AI Powered stage is around our AI Powered capabilities, including GitLab Duo. This functionality crosses all of our themes, but centers around creating a world-class DevSecOps experience with our AI-powered DevSecOps platform. AI-powered workflows boost efficiency and reduce cycle times across the SDLC with the help of AI in every phase of the software development lifecycle, as you can see in our marketing page here. So you've probably heard of many of our capabilities. We're going to start with code suggestions and then go through some of the other things in this new stage. So code suggestions, we are working towards GA for our code suggestions offering. Right now, it's free for all users while in beta. Our focus in 16.4 is to continue prompt engineering techniques to improve the acceptance rate of code suggestions. We have a variety of different prompt engineering tasks. In fact, you'll see many that we have already shipped. So we're continuing to iterate on our code suggestions solution. Next, I want to mention GitLab Chat. This chat experience is a unified assistant, Duo Chat, we're calling it, your sort of paired programmer assistant. I'll give you just a quick sneak peek of what this looks like. If you click the Help button and click Ask GitLab Duo, you'll get a chat interface that you can interact with AI models that are trained on GitLab, as well as expanding to the context of your projects. And that leads me to the changes that we're introducing in 16.4. This chat experience will soon have the context of a currently viewed epic. So you can ask it questions about that epic. We're also expanding to include the context of a merge request that you're currently looking at, as well as improving the speed of this chatbot. So as you are navigating around GitLab and interacting with epics and merge requests, that chat experience will have context of what is on the page, and you'll be able to ask it questions. We'll also be streaming answers to this to improve the speed at which the chat can respond to your questions. Moving on to model validation, this is a new group within GitLab focused on how we evaluate these AI models and ensure that they're providing you valuable and useful answers. In 16.4, we're focused primarily on code suggestion AI evaluations, but we're doing this in the context of building a large prompt library for model evaluation at scale. We basically want to exercise our AI capabilities across many different languages, many different queries and prompts to ensure that the quality is always improving and is providing accurate, high-quality answers. We're also building in an A/B testing platform into this experimentation solution so that as we try various prompt engineering techniques, we can actually test them and ensure that they are indeed improving the quality of these AI solutions. I'll give you a quick preview of what this looks like. It's a really advanced dashboard with lots of data science things that I won't dig into, but basically we're scaling lots of different prompts. We're automatically running those and evaluating them to see the quality of those results. So that's a quick overview of what we're focused on the new AI-powered stage. And now I'll hand it over to Josh to talk about enablement.
Thanks, Taylor. Really excited to see all those AI improvements shipped to things like code suggestions. Can't wait. I'll be going through our enablement section, as Taylor mentioned. And as other folks have also mentioned, this is a small highlight of what we're working on enablement. Please do go through the planning issues or the kickoff videos that are available to learn more. But we'll go ahead and get started with the world-class DevOps experience over with the Global Search Group. So we are working on a migration over to Zoot to improve our code search capabilities. This is because our current solution can't support regex and tends to not give complete answers, but moving to Zoot will allow us to resolve those challenges and offer a much better experience. We are actually quite close towards an opt-in beta, and we have a couple of things left to address here. We expect that to be complete this milestone, and so we can actually start to roll out to customers on .com in this milestone, which is really exciting. So we're mainly working on things like just making sure if you change the default branch, we change with you. We're working on some more observability features, some scalability items around sharding and things like that for scale. But overall, we're kind of nearing the end of the list for the opt-in beta, and we're really excited about getting this out to customers. We're already dogfooding this today ourselves on our GitLab-org and GitLab-con groups, and it's going really well. Moving over towards our code suggestions to dovetail with Taylor, we are improving how you configure code suggestions for self-managed instances. Today, you have to configure a PAT, you have to have a GitLab.com account, and we are working on removing the need for both of those. And so you will be leveraging cloud licensing to authenticate to make sure we have a valid license. And then once you have that done, which is handled automatically, code suggestions will then just work. So make it much easier for everyone to configure and get started with reduced requirements to, again, start seeing the benefits of code suggestions for your users. And so we're very excited about that in this release as well. Moving over towards our geo group, we are working on improving the performance and scalability of our backup routine. You can see the exact command line here. But if you have a lot of repository content, or if you happen to not leverage something like object storage, it can take some time because right now we have a single compression task that runs, and we're going to be parallelizing that to improve the overall performance and speed of backups, in particular when you have, again, large repositories or you're unable to make use of object storage to offload more of the artifacts and container images. So looking forward to, again, improving the scalability and performance of this for our larger customers. And also continuing with the geo group, we are working to provide support for offloading and improving the performance of large CI build farms. So if you have a lot of CI jobs, those tend to generate a lot of clones and other activity to your site. And with geo, you're able to actually move the content, your repository and other content, very close to your build farm, and then also, not only make that a faster round trip, but also reduce the load on your primary for what users are interacting with. And so right now it doesn't quite work, geo that is, with kind of the CI farms, with how fast the jobs start from when a commit happens. We are working on improving this, and again, this will let you offload and improve the performance of your build fleets, which is very exciting. Moving over towards our tenant scale group, we are continuing our work towards the organization prototype. And so this allows users to have more of a clear isolation or boundary to what their group is currently contains. And so, for example, if you're a company, you will have a very strong isolation boundary between your content and the rest of the content on, say, GitLab.com. And so we're helping to build out the initial organization creation. Also, we're working on building out the initial pages for things like the front page. You can see like what it would look like here. For example, if you're in a organization, you'll get a drop down here showing you what organization you are in. And then once you're there, you can also take a look quickly at things like what projects are in your organization. So much easier to navigate those as well. So very excited for this to roll out to our customers, and we are working hard on implementing this kind of boundary layer or capsule, if you will, around your content. Moving along with organizations is our cells work. This is more of an infrastructure level improvement that allow us to horizontally scale GitLab infrastructure to a very, very high amount. And this will allow us to, again, achieve very, very large scale, but also to, in the event of a challenge, to have a smaller impact radius in case an issue does occur. And so this will, again, we're working towards the ability to create a group when you actually have a cell, which is essentially a smaller deployment of a GitLab infrastructure, which participates in a larger service like GitLab.com would be. So when you're on that cell, for example, a smaller deployment, we want to make sure we can replicate all the functionality or most of the functionality you'd expect within an organization, like, of course, group creation. So we're working on that here as our second iteration. Moving on towards the more maintenance work, we are improving write-ahead logging in Gitly. Red Hat logging will allow us to have a very, very short RPO or recovery point objective, because right now you can take a backup or a snapshot that tends to happen periodically. And in between, there isn't further backup work. With Red Hat logs, we'll actually be able to have that streaming off to, say, a different source like object storage. You can then restore your backup, replay your Red Hat log, and get back to where you were before you had potentially an incident, for example. This will also be a foundational component for our updated Raft-based Giddily cluster service, which will reduce the need for the current Postgres-based consensus mechanism. So that'll also simplify that work as well. So some two great impacts of this work going forward. We're also working to implement server-side backups within Giddily itself. I mentioned before, repository backups are currently a challenge with our repository tool. We're moving towards Giddily managing these by itself. This will allow us to have improved storage efficiency, as well as also improved backup capabilities with this work. And so we're very excited about that moving forward. In the database group, we are moving towards better understanding of the lock manager contention. In very, very large instances, you can Postgres has what's called like an LW lock contention, and we are seeing an increased rate of this, which can in some cases slow down queries. And so we are working to better get some observability on this, telemetry on this, and also reduce the frequency of this happening. Last, we're also continuing our work on the database group, that is. We're continuing to work towards completely removing the all tables that have an integer primary key. This will allow us to scale these tables, again, to a very, very large size, and in some cases not have to worry about exhausting the primary key size. And so we're kind of addressing the last couple ones here, and then we'll be done this overall effort for a very, very long time, which is great. And the last item we are doing, moving towards, is the distribution group. They are continuing their work towards the GitLab Server Operator, moving towards GA. You can get a sense of what the items that are outstanding are here. And we're expecting this work to complete, hopefully, in Q3, and allow customers to deploy production instances using the operator, which is exciting. And the last thing that our distribution group is working on is they are working towards multi-arch and ARM64 images. Right now, you don't have container images that are built for ARM64, just Linux packages. And so if you're looking to deploy on that infrastructure, we want to make sure you can also deploy your container images and take advantage of the Kubernetes scheduler if that is your desired deployment method of choice. So that's it for the enablement group, and I'll hand it back to David to take us home.
Thanks, Josh, and thank you, presenters, for another great kickoff. So many things are coming. I just grabbed a couple I'd like to highlight. Things like minimal forking, very excited. The improvements to user or enterprise user management, getting people automatically assigned as enterprise user. Being able to edit customizable roles in the UI, also very exciting. Sarah touched on some things related to continuous scanning and improvements to our browser-based SAST and doing active checks, as well as Sarah, I'm excited about the grouping on the vulnerability report too. I thought that was really cool. Integrating in deployment approvals and approval roles into audit events, and being able to pass custom Kubernetes pod specs. I know that's going to be in beta, but also really cool as well. And then finally, the ability to merge immediately without interrupting the merge train. Jocelyn, I gave that 2 thumbs up, even though no one could see me. And then moving over to data science, just the improvements to Duo Chat, very cool. Looking forward to seeing that continue to mature. And then finally, Josh touched on a couple, the improving the scalability of backups, being able to leverage Geo for CI build farms, and just continuing to improve how customers get into code suggestions, all very cool. So please check out the release kickoff page for a full list of items. Make sure to like and comment on them and engage with the PMs, both the ones on this call and as well as everyone in the product division. I was only able to touch on a couple of them, though I think a couple would be 3, and I think I read 12, but we'll just pretend I know how math works. But please check them out and follow along on them. One final note, starting next month, the product leadership team is going to start actively rotating who's the host. So this will allow you to get to meet more of them, because some of them have yet to actually be on the live stream. So please enjoy virtually meeting them. I will promise that I will still occasionally show up and cause fun shenanigans, since I think people expect that now around the holiday time. But yeah, everyone, thank you for tuning in, watching this, whether you're watching it live or the recording of it. Please look forward to 16.4 and